Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are here for another beautiful yoga class. This time we are in Marrakech, Morocco. So we are actually in a traditional riad, which is a place of residence here in Morocco. This riad specifically has 5 guest rooms, and it has this beautiful center garden area that's usually filled with, tables, chairs, some plants, but today just a yoga mat for our class. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in a child's pose. Go ahead and get started. Back of your mat. Bring your knees about mat's distance. Your big toes will touch each other. And then start to bring your forehead down to the mat as far as it'll go. Your tailbone will pull back towards your heels as you stretch your arms forward. Now this should be pretty comfortable. If not, you can always place a bolster or a pillow underneath your chest or your forehead. And if your sitting bones don't reach your heels, that's okay. Your body will start to relax a little bit as you start to breathe. Those big muscle groups like the hips, the thighs, gradually starting to give into this stretch. Take a moment here to connect with your breath, maybe the first time all day. First time you've really thought about something so natural that happens without us really needing to think about or control it. But while we are doing our yoga practice, we want to bring some extra intention to our breath. We use breath control or pranayama, so different breathing techniques. Usually in my class or a Vinyasa class, it's going to be Ujjayi breath. This is a slight contraction of the back of your throat. It's going to be inhales and exhales through your nose. So you want to almost imagine sending the air all the way through the top of the nose to the back of the throat. It can sound a bit like an ocean wave or almost like you're trying to fog up a mirror. So it's going to sound a bit like... And you want to try to maintain that pace and that depth for the remainder of your practice. This helps to build heat from the inside out. So start to try that maybe for the first time if you haven't before. Deep inhale through the nose. Keeping the lips sealed, exhale out of the nose. 2 more just like that. Last time, really breathing into the sides of the body. Maybe you crawl your fingers a little bit more forward. Exhale, sinking your sitting bones more back towards your heels. Next, inhale, come up tabletop position. So stack your shoulders over your wrists, bring your knees in under your hips. Keep the tops of your feet down like you're trying to press down the tops of the ankles. Moving through a few cat-cows here. Use an inhale to drop your belly. Tug the shoulder blades back as you lift your gaze up. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin into your chest, and press down through the palms. Inhale, pull your sternum forward, let your tailbone draw up. Exhale to round, staying with that even inhale and exhale through the nose. 3 more. Maybe the neck, the throat, the shoulders start to warm up a little bit. Last 2. Last 1. Full breath in. Bring the chin forward, stretch the throat. And exhale, rounding. Squeeze your abdominals. All right, find your neutral tabletop. Bring your left hand underneath your nose. Use an inhale, reach your right arm up. Make a fist and roll it out. Really press down through the left palm. Shift your gaze up if possible. Use the exhale. Thread the right arm through, palm face up. Bring your right cheek to the mat. Start to walk your left hand forward. Press down through the tops of the feet, like you're trying to press the toenails of your big toes down. Now we're going to extend that left leg back. Tuck the toes, so you're getting a nice calf stretch here. If you want a little bit more, you can bring your left hand around to your right hip crease, maybe shifting your gaze up. Keep the left leg as it is. Plant your left hand. Use an inhale, reach your right arm high. So that left leg is still extended long behind you. Now without touching the right fingertips to the mat, reach your right arm forward, palm face in. Now lift your left leg up behind you. Keep the toes pointing down. Use an exhale, crunch your elbow into your knee, round your spine, squeeze your core. Inhale, reach your right arm forward, your left leg back. Exhale, squeeze, elbow into the knee. Inhale, reach it forward, flex your foot. Exhale, squeeze, chin into the chest. Last time, inhale, reach. Now stay here. You're gonna tap the right fingers to the mat, left toes to the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Last 3, 2, 1. Great, release. Right hand to the mat, left knee to the mat. Now plant your right hand underneath your nose. Inhale, stretch the left arm high, make a fist and roll it out. Stretch your gaze up if it feels okay, and then thread that left arm through, palm face up. Bringing the left cheek, left ear to the mat. Walk your right hand forward so it's at the top of your mat or maybe in front of. Extend your right leg back. The toes are tucked, breathing into the calf. If you want a deeper twist, you can bring your right hand over to your left hip crease. Spiral the chest more open to the right. All right, let's plant that right hand on the mat. Keep the right leg as is. Use an inhale, stretch the left arm high. Now, without touching the left fingertips to the mat, reach your left arm forward, palm face in. Now lift your right leg up, breath in. Use your breath out to draw the elbow into the knee, chin to your chest. Inhale, leg back, arm forward. Exhale, squeeze. 3 more. Breath is still even, in and out through the nose. 2. Last 1. Try to get the elbow and the knee to touch if possible. Now extend the right leg back, left arm forward. Tap the fingers to the mat as you touch the toes down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. We'll keep going for 3, 2, 1. Plant the hands, plant your right knee to the mat. Now let's start to walk the hands forward. Keep your hips up nice and high for puppy pose. Bring the forehead down. So unlike child's pose, the hips stay lifted. Imagine lifting the outer hips up. Keep pressing down through the tops of the feet. If you feel ready, you can bring the chin to the mat, melt the heart space down. Feel the inner thighs lift up for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, guide yourself forward all the way down onto your belly. Bring your forehead to the mat. Clasp your hands behind you. Use an inhale, lift just your upper body up off the mat. So keep pressing down through the tops of the feet. Squeeze the palms, activate your glutes. Bring a little tuck to the chin so your spine is nice and long. Now switch to the grip, opposite them on top, and lift your legs up. Toes stay pointing back. 3. Lift the chest a little bit more. 2. And 1. Bring your forehead down. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. Fingertips point forward. Press down through the palms and the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift just the upper body up. You can straighten the arms here and rock the hips a bit side to side. It should feel pretty good in the hips, the abdomen. Maybe gazing right, gazing left, rolling out the neck and shoulders. 3 more breaths. Next, inhale. If it feels okay on your neck, bring your gaze up, big stretch to the front of the body. And exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, find downward facing dog. So it's an inverted V shape. You can pedal out the legs here if the calves and hamstrings feel a bit tight. All right, let's find our downward facing dog. A little bit of stillness here. You want the heels to go in the direction of the mat, but it's okay if they don't touch. The heels can always be off the mat, or you can put a little bend to the knees for some assistance. Let's use an inhale, lift the right leg up behind us. Keep the toes stay pointing down. You want the hips square to the mat. As you exhale, you're gonna squeeze knee towards your nose and then take a step to your right thumb. Prop up onto your fingertips. We're in a runner's lunge. The left leg as straight as possible here. Try to lift the sternum and the belly away from the thigh. Think of coming higher onto the left toes, shift your weight forward, and then drop your back knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up, low lunge. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Try to melt the shoulders down away from the ears. How's your breath doing? Let's keep it even. From here, let's cactus the arms. Try to hide the elbows out of your view. So if you look off to the sides, you can't see them. Really open up the chest, maybe even bring the gaze up. Exhale, planting your hands at the top of your mat. Walk your right foot more out to the right. You want to angle your foot at about 45 degrees. Bring your right hand to your right thigh, left fingertips or palm to the mat. This is a nice gentle crooked monkey stretch. So kind of pressing the right knee forward, lunging the hips down and forward. Plant your left hand down as well, so both hands are on the mat. Tuck your left toes. You're gonna step your left foot outside of your left pinky finger, finding a yogi squat. Now, if you need, you can put a bolster or a block underneath your seat. You can also lift your heels up, but try to have them going down in the direction of the mat. Bring both hands to heart center. Lengthen through the sides of your body. Bring a little tuck to your chin. You can feel the spine lengthen. Keep the breath even for 3, 2, 1. Plant your hands, lift your hips up nice and high. Turn your toes to point forward. Clasp your hands behind your back. Put a little bend to the knees here. Let the hands fall up and over as you lift up from the tailbone. Should feel pretty nice on the lower back. The legs might gradually start to straighten as your muscles give into the stretch. Keep the grip and start to peel your chest all the way up to stand, keeping the bind behind you. Now reaching the bind towards the mat, take a little bit of a back bend here. Keep pressing down through all 4 corners of the feet. Press the chest up to the sky. And inhale, come to stand, release that grip. Toes stay pointing forward. Gently close your eyes. Take a nice full breath in. Exhale, full breath out. Now heel toe your feet to touch. The toes stay pointing forward. Let's inhale, sweep both arms out and up. Reach up from the sides of the body. As you exhale, dive down, forward fold. Try to get the belly onto the thighs, the forehead towards the shins. Use the inhale, lift your chest up halfway. You want to keep the fingertips on the mat. Put a little bend to the knees if you need. Now plant both hands. Step back with your right foot and then your left foot, finding a high plank position. You're high onto the toes, a little dome to the upper back. Gaze down between the thumbs. Squeeze your abdomen. Stay here for 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees, untuck your toes. Take a modified chaturanga, hug the arms in towards the body, bring your chest and chin down to the mat. Inhale, slide your sternum forward, roll the shoulders back and down. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Maybe with a little bit more ease this time. Keep the breath even, your gaze between your feet or up towards your navel. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Let's keep those hips squared. So you might need to slightly drop the outer left hip. Exhale, squeeze the knee in towards your chest and then step up to your left thumb. First, runner's lunge. So come up onto the fingertips and higher onto the right toes. Now you're really, really light in the hands here. You can almost feel the chest lift away from your thigh. And drop your right knee. Untuck your toes, bring your arms up, low lunge. Try not to grip the mat with your left toes. Press down more through the heel. All right, we're gonna cactus the arms here. Try to press the spine into the back of the heart. You're opening up the chest, broadening through the collarbones. And release, planting the hands. Walk your left foot out a little bit, so it's out near the edge of your mat. Toes point out at 45 degrees, left hand, left thigh. A gentle press onto the thigh here. Your chest twists a little bit to the left. As you lunge your hip creases towards the top of the mat. Plant both hands down and step your right foot outside your right pinky finger, finding our yogi squat again, maybe with a little bit more ease this time. Bring both hands to heart center. Imagine pulling the tailbone down and the crown of the head up. Plant the fingertips, lift your hips up, turn your toes to point towards the top of the mat. Clasp your hands behind your back, opposite thumb on top. Imagine a weight in the crown of your head, pulling you down just a little bit more. Feel the inner thighs lift up, maybe spiral towards the back of your mat. Now keeping the grip, start to peel your chest up. Keep the bind, keep the bind. Work the hands down behind you for a little bit of a back bend. Bring your gaze up. And release. Come to stand, close your eyes, breath in, breath out. Heel toe your feet to touch. Even weight through all four corners of both feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up, lift through the sides. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Now plant your hands, step back first with your left foot and then with your right foot to a high plank. Little tuck to the chin. Imagine your neck as neutral as possible. All right, we can take that modified chaturanga again, definitely if you'd like. Drop the knees. Otherwise, shift your weight forward, bend the elbows, chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. That means the thighs and the hips are off the mat. And exhale to downward facing dog. Press through the palms. Imagine creating some space between the shoulder blades. Relax the jaw. Drive your lower belly towards your thighs. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. This time we're gonna bend the knee, stack the right hip over the left. Your right shoulder, armpit wants to open up to the side of your mat. Try to press it back down, keep the shoulders square. Should feel pretty good on the right hip. Exhale, let's step up to the right thumb. Drop your left knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up, low lunge. Exhale, cactus the arms. Plant the fingertips on either side of your right foot. Tuck your left toes, lift your left leg. We're in a standing L position. So the fingertips are on the mat, maybe blocks. If you find your left hip is opening to the left, put a little bend to the right knee. You want the hips square to the mat. Exhale, let's step the left foot behind the right. Try to get the pinky toes to touch. Walk your hands off the right side of your mat. So you're getting a nice stretch through the lower back on the left side. Walk the hands all the way back through center. Take a big step back with the left foot. Inhale, find a high lunge position. So sweep the arms up all the way. So it's like our low lunge, but the left knee's off the mat. Think of a little anterior tilt of the pelvis. So you might want to think of pulling the tailbone down. You can put a little bend to the left knee here if you need to start. And once you're there, work a straighter left leg. Great, let's cactus the arms again, just like we did in our low lunge. If you feel pretty stable here, see if you can play around with bringing your gaze up. Exhale, plant your hands on either side of your right foot. Step your right foot back, high plank. Now we're going to roll onto the outer edge of the left foot, inner blade of the right foot. Sweep your right arm high for side plank. Bring the gaze up. See if you can stack the shoulders. Stay strong through that left oblique. And release. Right hand to the mat. Take your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. This time, bending the knee, stacking the hip. Try to keep the shoulders, the chest square to the mat. Exhale, step up to your left thumb. Dropping the right knee, inhale, low lunge. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, reach the arms back up, and then plant the fingertips to the mat. Tuck your right toes, find standing L, lift the right leg. Option to put a little bend in the left knee if you find the hips aren't square. Then step your right foot outside your left, trying to get the pinkies closer to each other and take a forward fold. Walk the hands all the way off the left side of the mat, getting a deep stretch through the right side body. Walk the hands back through center, take a big step back with the right foot. Inhale, high lunge position. A little anterior tilt of the pelvis, and then once you're there, you can work a straighter right leg. Again, if you notice your left toes grip the mat, bring more weight back to the heel. Exhale, cactus the arms. If you're feeling stable, that's when we can challenge and bring the gaze up. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, plant your hands, step your left foot back, high plank. Now we're rolling onto the outer edge of the right foot, inner blade of the left foot, reach your left arm high, side plank. Try to press the hips up, squeeze the inner thighs. Maybe you shift your gaze up to make it a little harder. And exhale, left hand to the mat, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna inhale, lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, step up to your right thumb. Inhale, find high lunge position. So we've been here before, feeling nice and stable. Exhale, cactus the arms. Now keeping that back bend, make a bind behind your back. Your hands want to rest on your left thigh. See if you can lift them away just an inch or two. Start to shift your gaze in front of your mat. Keep the grip if you can. Find a bound warrior 3. So the left leg lifts. Keep the hands lifting away from the tailbone. Gaze is down. Now, keeping the grip as long as you can, start to tilt the torso forward. The left leg's gonna lift up behind you. So this is like a drinking bird or a toppling tree. Hopefully not toppling too much. If you do, that's all right. It's in the name. Once you're down as far as you can, release the fingertips to the mat. Find standing splits. So the hands are on the mat. You're lifting the left leg up as high as possible. Then take a big step back with the left foot. You're going to pivot the left heel down. The left toe is face the long edge of your mat. Use the inhale, open yourself up to a warrior 2. Arms reach opposite directions. Sink a little deeper in that right knee. Make sure your right heel lines up with the left arch, and then shift your gaze over your right middle finger. Use an inhale, press the palms together overhead as you straighten your right leg. Maybe you bring the gaze up. Exhale, warrior 2, gaze to the right hand. Inhale, straight legs, arms press overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, inhale, press the palms. Exhale, warrior 2. We're going to straighten that right leg. Turn the right toes in, bind the hands behind the back. Take a full breath in, lift the sternum, and exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Firm down the outer blades of the feet. Try to squeeze the low belly here. All right, release the grip, bring the fingertips to the mat. Use an inhale, lift your torso up halfway so your back is nice and flat. We're gonna bring the heels in, the toes out, and then from here, bring your hands onto your inner thighs and lift your torso. This is a nice modified goddess stance. So the hands and the thighs take a little bit of the weight bearing off, but if you want more of a challenge, let's bring those arms all the way up, palms face each other. You could even hold a yoga block here for a bit more of a challenge. Try to knit the lower ribs down towards the hips. Press down through the outer blades of the feet and find your even breath. Sink the tailbone down for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, straighten your legs. We're going to turn the left toes in and the right toes to face the front of the mat. Reach your arms out opposite directions. And then keeping the legs straight, reach the right hand forward and then down to the shin, foot, or the mat. Left arm stays up, reaching high, triangle pose. Drive your hips towards the back of your mat. Press down the outer blade of your left foot. If you want to extend your triangle, reach the left hand forward, the bicep by the ear, palm face down. Let's bring the left hand to the left hip. Put the weight into your right foot. Bump your right fingers towards the top of your mat. Half moon, left leg, lift it high. Flex the left foot. Now we talked a lot about open and closed hips. You want the hips open this time. If you feel stable, left arm, reach it high, maybe shift your gaze up. All right, left hand to the mat. Step your left foot behind your right. Again, pinkies as close to touch as possible. We've been here before. Now, we're gonna rise all the way up, keep the legs as is. So you might have to put a little bend to the knees. Clasp your hands overhead, release your index finger and cross the thumbs. Take a full breath in. Exhale, draw a line over to the right. So it's a little stretch through the left side of your body. You're gonna need to bend your right knee. Inhale, come back through center. Keep the arms. Start to lift that left leg up behind you. Warrior 3, keeping that grip if possible. Hold. Flex your left foot. Imagine driving your heel into a wall behind you. And exhale, plant the hands, step the feet together, forward fold. Bend your knees, inhale to a chair pose, sweep those arms up. Imagine reaching for a chair just a little bit too far behind you, so much that you might fall back onto your seat. Exhale, forward fold, dive all the way down. Inhale, let's lift it up halfway. Plant your hands, step, jump, or float yourself back, and chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now the real yoga practice comes in. Can you keep your focus on your breath, not the dog barking in the background? Inhales, exhales through the nose. Of course, any other distractions you have at home might be added on top of that. See if you can stay here on your mat. Inhale, left leg, lift it high. Exhale, step up to your left thumb. Inhale, high lunge position. Exhale, cactus your arms, really opening the chest up. Clasp the hands behind your back, make a bind. Try to lift the hands away from that right leg. If possible, bringing the gaze up. Now shifting the gaze in front of your mat, lift the right leg up behind you, bound warrior 3. A little bend to the left knee if you need it. Let's keep that grip as long as possible as you start to tilt your torso down, lifting the right leg up as high as possible. Toppling tree or drinking bird. You're really gonna squeeze the low belly here. Think of the forehead drawing towards the mat and release. Hands to the mat, standing split. Kicking the right leg up as high as possible behind you. Should get a little relief here with the hands on the mat. Take a big step back with your right foot. And you're gonna pivot the toes to face the long edge of the mat. The heel is down. Inhale, open it up to a warrior 2. Try to get your left heel to line up with the right arch. Reach the arms in opposite directions. Bend the left knee more. Next, inhale, straighten both legs. Press the palms together overhead. Look up. Exhale, warrior 2. Shift your gaze over your left hand. Inhale, straight legs, arms up. Exhale, warrior 2. 3 more. 1 breath, 1 movement. The inhales and exhales are still even. Last 2. Last 1. All right, next inhale, straight left leg, turn the left toes in. Bind your hands behind your back so the opposite thumb is on top. Use the inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, dive it down, fold. Firm down the outer blades of your feet. Spiral the inner thighs back and up. Stay with your breath. Make it as even as possible. And release. Fingertips to the mat. Bring your heels in, your toes out, and drop your seat nice and low, goddess stance. Bringing the hands to the thighs to start. If your toes want to grip the mat, see if you can shift more weight back to your heels. Try to stack the shoulders over the hips. Maybe this time challenge yourself, reach your arms up. Holding that imaginary or real yoga block. Sink the tailbone a little deeper. 5. 3. 2. 1. Inhale, straight legs. Turn your right toes in, your left toes to face the front of your mat. Reach your arms out nice and wide. Reach your left hand forward, then down triangle. Drive your hips towards the back of your mat. Reach your right arm high. If possible, gaze up. Imagine peeling that right hip open on top of the left. If you want to extend your triangle, deeper stretch to the right side. Reach the arm overhead, palm face down. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Put a little bend to the left knee as you bump your left fingers in front of your mat. Lift your right leg up. You want to keep the hips open like they just were in that triangle pose. Now, if you feel stable here, that's a good time to reach the right arm up. Maybe even play around with bringing your gaze up. Keep the right foot flexed and active. And release. Right hand down, step your right foot behind your left. Pinky is as close to touch as possible. Inhale, rise all the way up. Clasp the hands, release your index finger, cross your thumbs. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lean it over to the left. So your left knee is definitely going to bend. Right knee might bend a little as well. Inhale, reach. Keep the arms. Start to reach the fingertips forward as you lift your right leg back behind you. Fullest expression, warrior 3. Gaze is down for a neutral neck. Right heel is stamping an imaginary wall behind you. Release, hands to the mat, step your feet together, forward fold. Bend your knees, inhale, chair pose. Bring the knees back behind the ankles. Make sure you can see your big toes. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step, jump, or float your feet back. 1 vinyasa. Instead of down dog, we're gonna meet in a child's pose. Bring your forehead to the mat. Sink your tailbone back towards your heels. And notice here, you should feel a bit more open, especially through the hips. Maybe the chest is a little bit closer to the mat. Or at least there's a bit more ease in your body. All right, let's come back to our downward facing dog. We've done a lot of binding and a lot of balancing. We're gonna work one more expression here. It's a nice big bind. So if the chest, the hips are feeling ready for it, go for it. Otherwise, I've got quite a few other modifications for us as well. Use an inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, step up between your thumbs. Pivot your left heel down. Let's rise to a warrior two. All right, we've been here before. Sink deep into the right knee. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Reach the right arm up and back like you're high-fiving the wall behind you. Exhale to side angle. So option one, right elbow to the inner thigh. Left arm reach it overhead. Option two, you can bring your right fingertips to the mat, to the block. If that still feels okay, left hand, wrap it behind your back, over towards your right hip crease, kind of like we did in that thread the needle stretch in the beginning. Now, if you want even more, your right arm's gonna reach underneath your right thigh to catch your left hand or your left wrist. So we've got our nice bind here in side angle. Now, at first, your torso is gonna wanna drop inside the right thigh. Think of peeling the chest open, keeping the shoulders square and open towards the long edge of your mat. Now, if you're like, all right, that's easy, let's go ahead and straighten that right leg. We've got a nice bound triangle. The torso is going to drop a little bit. Again, think of peeling the left shoulder on top of the right. Bring your gaze down to the mat, easier, gaze up, harder. 3, 2, and 1. Release your bind, square yourself towards the top of the mat, and walk your right foot all the way to the right side, finding a lizard pose. So your hands are planted inside your right foot, right toes point forward, your right knees hugging your right shoulder, right armpit. Try to stay up high onto the left toes, like you're shifting your weight a little bit more forward. If you want even more, let's come down to the forearms. This is going to deepen the stretch in that hip. Now, if you want to even more, we've got a nice difficult bind option here. Right arm, reach it under your right leg. You're going to reach your right hand towards your right butt cheek, right glute, maybe towards the tailbone. Now, you can imagine where that left hand is going. If you feel stable, prop yourself up onto your left fingertips. Maybe you reach your left hand behind your back. Use your right hand to catch your left wrist. Now your torso is floating. You're using your core strength a lot here. Hug the right knee towards the right shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Release hands to the mat. Walk your right foot all the way to the left side of your mat and drop the right knee down. Find pigeon pose. Wiggle walk the left leg back. Stay upright here for 1 or 2 breaths. Really pressing down through the top of the left foot. And then if you want to relax a bit more, come down to the forearms, blocks, bolsters. Breathing into the outer right hip. So it's important to stay with the breath, not only when we're moving or doing those more difficult, demanding postures like warrior 1, 2, or the high lunge, but also here when this is more of a resting posture, but you're still working a lot, should still be challenging. Yoga is the practice of finding the balance of edge and ease, of strength, of work, and relaxation. Slowly, let's start to walk the hands back under the shoulders. Let's tuck the left toes. Swing your right leg up and back, and then bend the right knee, stack the hip. We've been here before. If you'd like, start to shift your weight forward so the shoulders are over the wrists. Pivot your left heel down and drop the right toes behind you for Wild Thing. Your left leg is straight. Gaze down, easier. Gaze to your right hand, harder. Avoid looking straight up at the sky. It's kind of a difficult position for the neck. 3, 2, 1. Plant your right hand, come to high plank. Use the exhale, Vinyasa. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, step between your thumbs. Pivot your right heel down. Inhale to warrior 2. Get your good setup, widen the stance if you need. Use your next inhale to reverse your warrior. Keep that deep bend in the left knee. Exhale, side angle. Same options. Easiest, elbow, thigh, right arm overhead. Intermediate, left hand to block or mat. One more step, right hand behind the back, half wrap. Fullest expression, reach your left hand underneath the left thigh. Take a hold of the right wrist or fingertips. Now the chest wants to drop down inside. Peel that right shoulder on top of the left. Firm down the outer blade of the right foot. Maybe your gaze comes up. That's going to help to keep the chest open. If you want to take it a step further, straighten the left leg, bound triangle. Peel the right shoulder back. Firm down through the ball of your left foot. And from wherever you are, let's release both hands to the mat. Walk your left foot all the way to the left side of your mat. Keep the toes pointing forward. So we're in our lizard pose. Hands to the mat. It's like a plank, but the left foot is outside the left hand. Left knee towards the left armpit. For more, come down to the forearms. You'll already feel this deep in the stretch on the hips. Stay high on the right toes. For even more, left arm underneath left leg. Your left hand's coming to your left glute or the tailbone. Now, if you want to go for it here, you can prop up onto the right fingertips and then reach your right hand around your back, working to catch that wrist with the left hand. So your torso is kind of in limbo here. You have to use your core strength and the squeezing of your inner thighs to avoid toppling onto your nose. 3, 2, 1. Release your hands to the mat. Drop your right knee. Walk your left foot all the way to the right side of the mat, pigeon pose. Right leg down, wiggle walk the foot back. Take a breath or two here in your active pigeon. Let that outer hip melt into the stretch, and when you're ready, coming forward onto the forearms. Two more breaths here. Slowly start to walk your hands back under your shoulders. Tuck your right toes. Now reach the left leg up and back and bend the knees. Stack that left hip over the right. Three-legged down dog. If you went for Wild Thing on the other side, shift your weight forward. Press down the outer blade of your right foot and gently land into the left toes. Reach your left arm, squeeze the glutes. The right leg needs to be as straight as possible. 3, 2, 1. Left hand to the mat, plank pose. Exhale, come all the way down onto the belly. Stack your hands underneath your forehead. Nice neutral neck. It's like you're creating a little pillow for your forehead, your third eye center. Let the heels fall out, the big toes fall in. Completely relax your glutes, your calves, your hamstrings. Imagine the shoulder blades melting away from each other. 3, 2, 1. Bring your forehead to the mat. Bend your knees. Reach around and catch your feet or ankles from the outside. Now you want to bring the knees back into as close to hips distance as possible. You can point or flex the feet as long as they're active. Now you want to use your next inhale breath to kick into the hands and lift your chest, floor bow. Keep the activation of the inner thighs. Even though the knees want to come apart, you want to keep them squeezing towards each other. 3. Shift your gaze a little bit up without dropping the head all the way back. 2. 1, release. Plant the hands, shift the seat all the way back towards your heels, child's pose. Inhale through tabletop position, drop your hips to one side, come to a wide-legged seated pose. So facing the long edge of your mat, flex your feet so the toes point up. You can plant the hands a little bit to wiggle the sitting bones forward. We're going to take a nice side body stretch. We're going to take a forward fold, come down onto our back, and close it out. First, right hand reach towards your right foot, left arm up overhead. If you're super flexible, you might be able to catch your right foot with your left hand. If that's the case, you're spiraling your chest open still, not dumping down. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, come back through center. Left hand towards your left foot, the right arm up and overhead. Same thing here, chest spirals open. Keep both feet flexed like you're trying to drive your Achilles tendon into the mat. Inhale, come back through center. Sweep your left leg to meet your right. Facing the front of the mat, both legs as straight as possible, sitting bones ground. Inhale, lift from the sides of the body, reach up through the fingers. Exhale, forward folding. Now you can reach either towards the shins, the ankles, the feet. If you're super flexible, maybe you catch your hands, or you could even put a yoga block beyond your feet. More importantly here, you want to keep your back flat. So before you round your spine, try to just bend your knees. You want the belly smashing onto your thighs, sternum going forward. Slowly start to walk yourself out. We're going to take either a reverse table or reverse plank. Reverse plank's a little harder. You are going to keep your legs straight and just press down through the hands. Lift your seat up. A little easier reverse table. Bend the knees, plant your feet. Lift your hips up and drop your head back. All right, let's slowly release that. Keep your knees bent from reverse table. Otherwise, keep your legs straight from reverse plank. Either way, we're going to straighten those legs all the way out. Take a nice full body stretch. Send the arms overhead, point your toes. And exhale, bring the knees into the chest. Try to press the low back down. You can rock a bit side to side here. We're going to end with a happy baby. Drive the knees in towards your armpits. Catch the outsides of your feet. The tailbone wants to lift up. See if you can glue it back down onto the mat. Imagine every single vertebrae here driving down. So you want to tuck the chin a little bit. The entire back of the neck down. Try to bring the ankles directly over the knees. You should feel pretty good in your low back and the hips. From here, if there's any other stretch or final posture you'd like to take, now would be a great time to do so. If you want to end on a twist, an inversion, give yourself the freedom, the playtime to do so. And when you're ready, you can make your way to your final resting posture. So that's going to be our Shavasana corpse pose. The most important posture of your practice here, something you definitely don't want to skip. So you want to lay down in a comfortable position here. You can release your Ujjayi breath, so that contraction of your throat that we've been doing, you want to release that completely. There's no need to control your breath. Let it return to a natural state. If it helps, you can always bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. I like this as it kind of keeps your focus on the physical sensations, especially as the mind starts to wander here. Sometimes it helps to almost envision a color or a light becoming a bit more bright or vibrant as you inhale, maybe spreading into all those areas in your body, the fingers, the toes, and becoming a bit darker, duller as you exhale. Anything to keep your mind within the four corners of your mat. I recommend you stay here for 1 or 2 minutes if you have the time. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and take a nice full body stretch. Take your time. You can pause the video, close out, anything you need. Get those final few moments of relaxation. When you're ready, as slow as possible, making your way up to a seated pose. And letting your hands find your heart center. Press the thumbs into the sternum. Lift the chest, lengthen from the crown of your head. Take a nice full breath in. Open your mouth, sigh out. Start to bow your head down, honoring your body, your practice, the time you have dedicated to yourself today. And as you lift your torso back up, feel free to open your eyes. Maybe the corners of your mouth turn up just a little bit, forming what we would call a smile. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, your week. If you haven't yet checked out Marrakech, I highly recommend it. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.